Hi, Graham here. What happens next? If you're interested in podcast guesting, let me walk you through how it happens. Some basic steps that we will work with you on, that we will help make this process seamless. And let's talk about the setup now. There are 7 steps in that. And what happens is from the beginning, we will assign a team to you. You will work with our outreach team. They will get to know you quite intimately. They'll know what you like talking about, what you don't like talking about, how you like doing podcasts, what you don't like. That's all feedback. It's an iterative process. So you, me, the team work together on this project to get you up those steps. If you remember the 3 steps in your thought leadership journey, we are all on a mission to achieve success with you. And it's an ongoing process. We don't have all the answers straight away, but we put the processes in place. So let's have a look at those 7 steps very briefly. Is it for you? And once you're set up and the account's ready to go, the first step is working with you to develop a media profile. Now, this is a media profile specifically aimed at podcast hosts. You know, I've produced and spoken on over 2,000 podcasts in my time. I've got a good understanding of what podcast hosts want and what they don't like. I know what it's like to be on the other side. I've been a podcast host myself. I know what it's like to get spammy messages from people who really don't care, from PR agencies who really don't know who they're talking to and just send out thousands of emails randomly to random podcast hosts, and it's just spam. So what we have to do is we don't want to be part of that. We want to be very targeted. We want to find quality podcasts. We want to find good hosts with good setups that match your key talking points. So in steps 3 and 4, we build your media kit, we build your profile, we understand what are your key talking points, and we help you refine those. So you may say to me, for example, that one of your key talking points that you like to talk about, one of your meta messages, if you like, is about company culture, because maybe you're a coach for corporate leaders. So you like company culture. That's your thing. That's your shtick. Yet here we are in the industry. What are the newsworthy items and trends and macros that people talk about that resonate with company culture? So one of the things that we will work with you on is to couch your key talking points in the terms, the trends, if you like, that podcast hosts resonate with. So they may not be particularly open to the idea of company culture, because maybe there are a lot of people talking about company culture, but they may be very interested in, for example, the Great Resignation, which is a popular topic. So what we have to do when we develop your profile media kit is couch your key talking points in the terms that are newsworthy, hot topics that podcast hosts will respond to. And that's where we come in, because we have experience in that. What we then do is we build a team around you, an outreach manager who will work alongside you, who will not only do the outreach campaigns, but do all the heavy lifting, everything from managing your routines, your schedules, helping you with the messaging, following up with podcast hosts, even to the point our outreach managers will join the podcast with you. Of course, they're not speaking, but they will turn up 10 minutes before, speak to the host, everything okay, just making sure the mic, audio, video, all set up, ready to go. Hello to the podcast host, hello to you, and then boom, you're ready to go. So they do that onboarding, that concierge as well. They'll follow up with the podcast host afterwards. So you have that team that has got your back. That's why when you do podcast guesting and thought leadership in particular, you need a team. You can't do this on your own, because yes, you can brute force your way through 6, 7, 8 episodes purely through motivation, but then you're left with the work. Then you're left with the reality, the washing, if you like, of podcast guesting. We want to make sure that that's not your gig. You stay in your zone. You stay in that sweet spot where you are simply turning up to the podcast, doing your conversation, that stuff that you're really good at, and then you're gone. You don't have to worry about the follow-up. You don't have to worry about what happens next. We'll look after all of that. So that's why we focus heavily on that team and that process. Once we've got all that into place and we have an understanding of your key messages and there's talking points, we'll start the outreach process. And it's not going to be 100% bullseye every time. We're not going to hit the target every time, but we'll start getting feedback. We'll start to understand A, what you talk about, and B, what you like talking about. We can also talk to the hosts and get some feedback from them. And from that, get valuable data points, which we can iterate and work together on improving the approach. And lastly, success. Success means getting on podcasts. It means then becoming a thought leader through this 3-step process, that journey that I've talked about in becoming a thought leader. That's an ongoing process. And as I say to everybody in podcast guesting, try it out. Try the first month out. Set up, ready to go, set up your media profile with us, start the process. And if you don't like it, or it doesn't work for you, or it doesn't meet your expectations, my guarantee to all podcast guesting clients is that for any reason, at any time, if you're not 100% happy, then I'll refund your money. No questions asked. I'm not going to try and strong harm you into some kind of renewal if you're not happy. I'm not going to then force you like, yeah, I'll give you a refund, but first you have to fight me for it. None of that. You don't have to feel guilty about it. That's the deal. I want to make sure you're completely happy. I'll give you a refund. I have done this. I'd be honest. I'd be lying if I wasn't saying that we have actually given refunds. I've given refunds to people who didn't hit the target for the month for whatever reason, or I've given refunds to people that said, hey, that I tried it out, wasn't 100% me, but I'm glad that we did it, and shake hands, we're all good. I want to make sure this is a long-term happy relationship for you and for me and our team. So my guarantee is that anytime you feel that this isn't working out for you, I'm happy to stop that, refund the money, and say, great, we tried it out. It was a good run. All the best. Nothing lost as a result of that. So I don't want to make you feel that there's a risk involved in this, or that you can make a mistake in this, because you've got to try these things out. And if it doesn't work out, there's no hard feelings. It's great feedback for us, and we learn from it absolutely every single time. What do we do wrong? What can we improve the next time round? That is podcast guessing. Those are the 7 steps of the setup. If you're interested, you know my details. You can simply reach out to me and my team. We can set up a call to see how this would work for you, put a timeline together, and take it from there. I'm looking forward to taking you on that journey, getting you up those steps from being at the very beginning of the podcast guesting journey to a thought leader in your space.